The X-Men. Introducing Ka-Zar, Lord of the Jungle. Ka-Zar, unquestionably the most spectacular new character of the year. Thrill to Zabu, the Saber-Tooth. X-Men, the most unusual teenagers of all time. The Coming of Ka-Zar. Pronounced Ka-Zar. Featuring a fascinating journey to the world that time forgot. Stan Lee, writer, and Jack Kirby, artist, have triumphed again, magnificently supported by Chick Stone, inker, S. Rosen, letterer. Introducing Zabu, the Saber-Tooth Stalker. You are privileged to look inside the world's greatest training chamber, the X-Men's Danger Room, where Professor Xavier's marvelous mutants brush up on some highly specialized postgraduate studies. You've taken that rifle apart perfectly with your telekinetic power, Gene. Please, nobody speak. I can't be distracted. Holy cow! You'll never get those pieces together again in the right order. Nonsense, Bobby. She'll accomplish it with ease. A few seconds later. Excellent, Gene. You've refined your power to an almost unbelievable degree. Almost as unbelievable as your beauty, which leaves me breathless. Thank you, Scott. But to you, I'll never be anything more than Marvel Girl. Terrific, Genie. If you had ice power too, you'd be perfect. I've gotta change the subject. When she stands this close to me, I forget everything but my desire to reach out, to embrace her. By the way, where's Warren? I don't see him here. That's right. He hasn't been here. We'd better check. He's never missed a training session before. I'll go with you, Scott. The Beast shall also accompany you. We'll try his room first, and there he is. This special bulletin is being transmitted via Telstar satellite through the facilities of... Be with you in a sec, Scott. I just want to see this. Mr. Worthington, may I remind you that no one is excused from postgraduate work without express permission of Professor X himself? I know, Scotty, but this may concern all of us. Watch. Say, what's going on there anyway? It's a videotape broadcast of something that happened yesterday at Antarctica. One of the exploration party had been missing and considered lost until he was carried to the camp by a fantastic figure, clad only in a loincloth. Although our transmission is somewhat hazy, it appears that a saber-toothed tiger accompanied the primitive stranger, causing panic among the startled members of the expedition. Unprepared for such a sight, the armed explorers opened fire, while the cameraman continued to shoot these incredible scenes. Only a miracle prevented any fatalities, and the savage man and beast soon faded into the night after running amok through the camp. It's impossible. Saber-toothed tigers have been extinct for ages, and yet we saw it. That wild man, like a latter-day Tarzan, in that frigid climate without protective clothes. Could he be... He must be... a mutant. How about that? Minutes later, the excited teenagers rush into the luxurious study of the man called Professor X. Professor, we've just seen the most amazing thing on TV. I know, Scott. Washington has already contacted me about the Antarctic Wild Man, as they call him. He's obviously a mutant, sir, and he appears to be a dangerous one. Boy, the South Pole is one place where I'll feel right at home. There is no need to concern yourselves, my X-Men. He is not a mutant. But sir, how can you be so certain? If he were a true mutant, my sensitive cerebro machine would have recorded his presence. Also, I would have mentally sensed it. And yet... it's been weeks since we've had a chance to use all our training. It is true that you've been inactive for weeks, and being young and adventurous, such a mission might be good for your morale. So, you may investigate the Antarctic Wild Man. Thank you, Professor. Hot dog! A mission at last! What a relief to get my wings unstrapped and become the angel once more. An untamed marauding savage. At last the beast will have a foe worthy of his mettle. Iceman! Stop that! You juvenile Jerry Lewis! Meanwhile, the X-Men's deputy leader remains for a last-minute briefing with the professor. You will notice, Scott, that my master cerebroanalyzer, although focused upon the Antarctic regions, registers the presence of no mutants in that area. However, there may be danger there, a different danger than any you have ever faced before. I assume by your words, sir, that you do not intend to come on this mission with us. No, Cyclops. You have all completed your basic training and proven yourselves on other missions. My work is here. Good luck. Thank you, sir. We shall not disappoint you. Days later, having landed at a prearranged base within the mysterious polar region, the X-Men begin the next lap of their journey into the unknown. Looks like my wings won't do me much good here, gang. It's too cold to take off this parka, so I can't use them. Don't count on it, Angel. We still don't know what we're heading into. Remember, that wild man only wore a loincloth. Miles and miles of nothing but nothing. How can land such as this hold a mystery? That's what we're here to find out, Gene. Uh-oh. Here's our first problem. That's the area where the wild man ran off to on the videotape film. But take a look at that crevice. It's a sheer drop of hundreds of feet. Nothing could fall down there and live. It looks as though our mission is ended before it began. If he fell down here, he's finished. Yet we can't be certain. I'll see how far down my Power Blast ray can penetrate. But then, suddenly... Look! The energy from your ray caused a geyser of snow to shoot up behind us. There's a hidden tunnel under here. Then he wasn't killed in the fall. This must be where he came from, and where he vanished to. I wonder, if that saber-tooth is still with him. Then, after what seems like hours of descending, it's like coming to a new, undiscovered world. And it's warm. We could shed our coats. I could fly. Scouting ahead, the awe-stricken angel soon sees. It's like a vast animal burial ground. But the bones, they're the wrong size. They're the skeletons of monsters. Then, emerging from the gigantic cave, Angel hears a blood-curdling screech above and turns around to find pterodactyls, birds from the dinosaur era. How can it be? But the winged mutant has no time for idle speculation as the flying killers attack. Wow, that was too close for comfort. Hang on, Angel. My power beam will scatter them. Much obliged, Psyche. These overgrown parakeets mean business. That's the last of them, Scott. You drove them off. But where are we? What kind of place is this? Apparently, we have stumbled upon a warm, tropical land, buried far beneath the frozen wastes of Antarctica. But the flora and fauna are all prehistoric. Vegetation and animal life, which ceased to exist on the surface of the earth ages ago. We've seen this sort of thing many times on The Late Show, but to actually encounter such a world in real life, it staggers the senses. I'll do some more scouting, now that those flying nightmares are gone. Look, those horses aren't much larger than puppies. They're the ancestors of our present-day stallions. What a fabulous archaeological find. If I remember my ancient history, many of the most dangerous-looking prehistoric beasts were vegetarians. I hope. Imagine walking one of these on a leash in the park. But suddenly, the youthful mutant's amused interest turns to unbelieving shock as they see. Scott, all of you, look, charging towards us from the underbrush. What's that? X-Men, on the double, prepare for battle. Primitive warriors, mounted on giant carnivorous birds. They're about to attack us with rocks. No, they're not rocks. They're crude missiles, filled with volcanic gases. Hold your breaths. But Cyclops' frantic warning comes too late for all save the beast. Anyone ever tell you that you have a dormant, deep-rooted hostility complex? Ow! Some people can't take the slightest criticism. But how can they shoot such a multitude of arrows simultaneously? Now I see it. They're not as brainless as they seem. That's a mighty clever multiple arrow launcher they're employing. But I'm not in a position to appreciate it right now. Suddenly, an ear-splitting battle cry rents the air, causing the savage marauders to flee in terror. Yeah! They're running off, but they've taken Marvel Girl. That saber-tooth is stalking them. No, he can't go on. The swamp stopped him. He's turning back. The wild man called him. Swamp means death, Zabu. There is better way. We find. The tiger is tame. He's conversing with it. I am Ka-Zar. Well, whatever you call yourself, nature boy, I'm indebted to you, and your little pet for driving those aborigines away. That volcanic gas put us to sleep. Couldn't fight it. Well, it seems that you located our quarry while we slept. Good work, beast. I am Ka-Zar. It would be more accurate to say he located us. Conversationally, he's somewhat like a broken record. Anyway, he probably saved our lives while you were all in repose. Say, that's a remarkable pair of biceps you've got, Ka-Zar. No touch! None touch Lord of Jungle! Zabu! Beast! Look out for the tiger! Moving like a jungle cat himself, the agile beast narrowly escapes the saber-tooth's deadly leap. You fool! I meant you no harm! Many moons ago, other men, on surface, attacked Ka-Zar. Ka-Zar fled. Down here, will never flee again. I'll put that nutty pussycat in deep freeze, until we settle with the fella in the fur bikini. Zabu! He who would attack Zabu must first destroy his blood brother, Ka-Zar. Look, we mean you no harm. Right now, our biggest problem is to rescue our female partner from those savages who seized her. Now stay back. Don't force us to get rough with you. We've gotta find Marvel Girl. You attack Ka-Zar. Now you die. He's holding my visor. Can't use my power blast. He doesn't understand. Thinks we're enemies. Ka-Zar fears nothing. Ka-Zar, Lord of Jungle. It's like trying to restrain a tornado. But just then, another thundering war cry is heard. Ah! Ka-Zar is smooth-skinned weakling. I crush Ka-Zar. Magor, the killer, last of Man-Ape tribe. Ka-Zar fears nothing. Ka-Zar fears no one. None can touch Lord of Jungle. Look at that. He's as good as he says he is. But why are we watching? Why don't we search for Jean? We can't without his help. We've gotta wait. Enlist him as an ally. He knows this forsaken jungle. We don't. Look how quickly he defeated that caveman. He's a one-man army. Run, Man-Ape. Run from might of Ka-Zar. Yeah! Stronger than Mastodon. Stronger than Giant Boar. Mighty is Ka-Zar, Lord of Jungle. Ka-Zar, listen. You've got to help us. Those savages captured our female partner. You must know where they've taken her. The swamp men, my enemies too. Ka-Zar, help. We go now. At last. And so. Whew. Doesn't that swell-headed muscle man ever get tired? He seems to have the endurance of a tiger. See the long, easy strides he takes? He's not even breathing hard. Personally, I resent it. He's giving me an inferiority complex. Meanwhile, some distance ahead, we find the Angel, still upon his scouting mission. It's the strangest feeling I've ever known. I'm actually flying in a world that should have died 1,000,000 years ago. Yow! You'd think they'd post a few detour signs to warn low-flying X-Men. It's too bad none of us brought a camera. We could film the science fiction classic of all time down here. And we wouldn't have to pay a cent to special effects men. But then, while darting wildly about to avoid the great swaying heads of the grazing brontosauri, the Angel is unable to dodge a skillfully thrown net. Oh no! I've flown out of the frying pan into the fire. And moments later, Warren Worthington III, scion of one of America's wealthiest families, is a helpless captive of the swamp men in a lost world that time forgot. Oh boy, how will the others ever find me now? This must be their city, a primitive walled enclosure in the heart of the swamp. Jean, they got you too. Then what about the others? They're still safe, as far as I know. But they intend to make sacrifices out of us. Then, as the captives are led to the top of a strange pyramid. Jean, listen. Use your telekinetic power on your ropes to unravel them. I thought of that, but I can't. They're covered with pitch. They won't unravel. Well, we've got to think of something. They're not making us take this climb for our health. Finally, upon reaching the top, the swamp men descend once again, leaving their two helpless captives alone, as two massive stone doors slowly creak open. Scott, listen. Did you hear that roar from down there? It's coming closer. Easy, kid. Try to stand behind me. Let me face it first. Slowly, menacingly, a huge, awesome form begins to appear. The massive, titanic form of Tyrannosaurus Rex, largest of the carnivorous dinosaurs. Oh no. No! Jean, don't panic. We still have a chance. They didn't have time to put pitch on my bonds. Take your eyes off that monster. Concentrate on my ropes. Quickly. You've got to untie them telekinetically. Now. She's almost numb with fear. I've got to snap her out of it. We've only seconds left. Jean, think of the others. They need us to warn them. To stop them from coming closer. Meanwhile, the small rescue party comes nearer and nearer, until... I can make it, Psych. But what about you and Bobby? Don't worry about us, Beastie Boy. We can always think of something. Like this quick freeze bridge, for instance. Faster, Bobby. Ka-Zar is outdistancing us. We mustn't lose him. Don't worry, Scott. I can always pick up his trail. Looks like you won't have to, Hank. We're there. Wow. How will we ever get inside of that? Let's see what Ka-Zar does. He seems to have a plan. Quiet. Ka-Zar is giving the Sabertooth some sort of instructions. Fine. So long as he doesn't mention us. I'll do some reconnaissance on my own. Go, Zabu! Look, atop the high barricade wall. See all the commotion? They've spotted us. The only thing that bugs me, Psyche, is... did we really volunteer for this caper? Meantime, back atop the high plateau. No, Jean! You can't stop him by throwing boulders! My ropes! Concentrate on my ropes! I can't! I don't dare turn my head! Even for a second! Perhaps if I can concentrate on his legs, he'll topple. Oh, he's so heavy. But I upset him for a moment. Now I can turn to you. At least you could save yourself, Warren. There. Now hurry. Fly and warn the others. Tell them of the danger here. I will, Jean. But not without you. No. You're too weak. Your wings are cramped from being tied so long. You can't. But I've gotta try. I could never leave you behind. Couldn't get altitude fast enough. They grabbed my legs. But we won't give up. I'll drag them into the air too if I must. And at that very moment, a lone figure runs up the sheer side of the high stockade wall, dodging the rocks which come flying down at him with the skill of a born mutant. I pray that we're not too late. Stand aside, gentlemen. It will behoove you not to make me lose my temper. Personally, I have always believed that violence is the last refuge of the incompetent. While down below, there's no time to find a battering ram, Ka-Zar, so my power beam will have to do the trick, if I can make it sufficiently wide enough. Your eyes. Magic. But although Cyclops succeeds in blasting a large enough entrance hole, he learns that it would still be death to try to use it. Back! Your magic. Too weak. Only Ka-Zar is Lord of Jungle. What are you going to do? Instead of answering, the Jungle Monarch again emits a spine-tingling, ear-splitting roar. Eeeeah! And, from the edge of the swamp behind them, the roar is echoed back again from the throats of a herd of charging mastodons, led by a snarling, speeding, saber-toothed tiger. Nothing erected by mere mortal man can withstand the fury of such an onslaught. And so... You're a mighty handy fella to have in a pinch, Ka-Zar. But now, I've gotta find Marvel Girl. Run, swamp men! Flee the might of the Jungle Lord! No mere words of ours can do justice to the fury of Ka-Zar's attack, so we'll attempt no such written description. Angel! Look! A saber-toothed tiger! Whatever you call it, Jean, it's a lifesaver. We couldn't have held them off much longer. Jean, you're all right. Thank heavens. You're not harmed. You're safe. Is that the normal concern of a leader for an ally? Or Do I detect another note in his voice? One that I've been longing to hear. I'm okay too, Psych. Or hadn't you noticed? How did you find us, Scott? We have Ka-Zar to thank for that. Ka-Zar? Will someone kindly extricate me from this precarious perch? Hold on, Hank. I'll get you. How did you get up there, Mr. McCoy? I'm not sure. 1 minute I was holding a multitude of foes at bay, and then, the next thing I knew, instant embarrassment. If you don't stop mouthing off long enough for me to get a good grip on you, it'll be instant kerplunk. Alas, conversation is a dying art amongst today's youth. Finally, the battle won. Ka-Zar leads the weary X-Men back to the point of entry to the surface world. This was a charming place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live here. We came here hoping to find a true mutant, but the professor was right. Instead, we have found a true friend, Ka-Zar. Perhaps you do not understand what my words mean, but no talk. Your world, above. My world, jungle. Only Ka-Zar is Lord of Jungle. You go. No return. Friendly sort of fella, isn't he? In a way, it's lucky he's not a mutant. We'd have our hands full persuading him to return to America with us. Then, no sooner have the X-Men entered the tunnel, then Ka-Zar signals his mastodons, and the entrance is hidden behind tons of crashing boulders. Thus, we leave the Jungle Lord with his victory cry reverberating across the plains of the world that time forgot. But many questions still remain unanswered, and we suspect that this may not be the last we will see of Ka-Zar and Zabu. For the future holds many mysteries, which we shall unravel one by one in the months to come.